What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And today I have another exciting episode of Black Hypocrisy because we know it's so much of it out there. And today I'm going to talk about Tom Joyner. If you're not familiar with him, he is a host of his own nationally syndicated radio show. It's a morning show. And I've listened to the Tom Joyner morning show for years. It's very entertaining. And I really enjoy listening to the show over the years. And I'll have to say, unfortunately for him, he lost a good bit of his show by losing J. Anthony Brown. I think J. Anthony Brown was on the show for so long, he just became such a part of the show. So losing him was a big hurt to the show, but it's still a very entertaining show. And one thing about Tom Joyner, he's outward about him going to Tuskegee University. And as such, he has a strong passion for HBCUs, historically, colleges are black universities. And he does a lot for them. He raised money for colleges, these colleges. He's giving out scholarships over the years to many students to go to HBCUs. He holds his annual Fantastic Voyage, to raise money. It's this cruise to raise money every year for schools. So he does a lot for black people, and I would have to say, just because of this, he does more or has done more for black people than Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton combined. However, there's something I have against Tom Joyner. If you've ever listened to his show for any longer, for long enough, you know that Tom Joyner has his method by which he picked the NFL teams that he goes for. That is, he goes for black, or just football in general. The team that has a black quarterback, he goes for the team with a black quarterback. However, a black head coach supersedes a black quarterback. And I'm guessing a black GM supersedes a black head coach, and a black owner supersedes all. But ordinarily, I wouldn't care about this because it's completely, totally irrelevant. It's not stopping anybody. It's really not impacting anybody, the fact that he said he goes for black. So, like I said, ordinarily, this will be irrelevant and not even be pointless. However, this is not about relevancy. It's about hypocrisy. Because if some white person, let's say Rush Limbaugh, would have come out and say, or would have come out and said that he goes for white, then it would be a national tragedy. Black folk will lose their mind. They'll be calling him racist, and they already call him a racist for no reason. And what I just find it funny that that Tom Joyner could do this or say something so racist while always crying about racism all the time. And then he uses his show, let his show be a platform for a couple of race hustlers, that being Al Sharpton and Mr. Telegram X, Sean King. They have their daily segments where all they do is bitch, mourn, and whine and cry about race all day. Now it just makes no sense how Tom can say something that would be considered racist. And by the way, there's been plenty of white people in America who's been called racist for far less than simply saying going for black. Now, obviously, the race hustlers, they always make excuses for things. So they have the excuses to try to excuse this away. Now, the first excuse, where I already covered it, would be the whole relevance excuse. Well, it's not relevant to anything. Again, I completely agree. Him saying go for black, he goes for black, is not relevant to anything. It's not hampering anyone in America. So it's pointless. However, what has Rush Limbaugh ever said that's stopping anyone in America as well? Nothing. But he gets called racist. And then how many people in America are being held back because Donald Trump said grab a pussy? Nobody yet here, the feminists and everybody losing their mind over it. Or how many of the NFL players are being held back because Donald Trump called them sons of bitches? None of them. Yet they cry and complain about something that's just as irrelevant as Tom Joyner saying, I go for black. His hypocrisy. The second argument that you will hear, or excuse that you hear blacks make, that they can possibly make, is, I've heard this said before, that, and others like Black Lives Matter, saying that going for black doesn't necessarily mean being anti anything else. Which, hey, I agree with. You get no argument with me on it. I completely agree with him on that. But the thing is, if going for black doesn't mean being anti anything else, but then going for white also does not mean being anti anything else. So then why do you have all these race hustlers, these blacks, bitch moaning and crying about white nationalists who are pro-white? I mean, them being pro-white is not stopping the black person. It's not anti anything else. But yet they bitch moan and whine and cry, complain about it. Again, that's complete and total hypocrisy. The second or the third argument that they will make, that they can really only make, is the whole power argument. That, well, Tom Joyner can't be racist because he doesn't have any power. Which is ridiculous, because if Tom Joyner, who speaks to millions of people a day, quote unquote, doesn't have any power, then how in the world does Rush Limbaugh, who speaks to millions of people a day, does? That, again, more hypocrisy. Now, the argument that you would get from some blacks is that, well, Rush Limbaugh is speaking to white folks who have all this power. Really? Well, I addressed this question before. How exactly do all these white people wield all this magic power? I mean, it's not like all white people. If you're a white person in America, you have this Excalibur in your backyard, and it's into stone, and you just go put it out of stone anytime you want to exercise some power. That's ridiculous. But Tom Joyner, I mean, again, speaking to millions of people a day, has more power at his disposal than 99.999% of the population. He has more power than the majority of people in this country, and there's very few people in America who has less power than him with the platform he has. Perfect example of this would be the whole Joyner 6 movement. We all remember the Joyner 6 movement, that, well, blacks lost their mind over something that turned out to be a bunch of bullshit as usual. But this whole Joyner 6 thing was spearheaded by, it was mostly social media, but the one person I believe who was the most essential to it was Michael Bailey, who's another talk show host, national syndicated talk show host, and he was one of the persons who spearheaded putting a light and attention on the Joyner 6 movement. Okay, and he's not as big as Tom Joyner's morning show. His show is not as big as Tom Joyner's, as I would believe, but I don't think it is. It's not even nowhere near as big as Tom Joyner's morning show. Yet they were able to do this, and look what they were able to proceed. So you telling me that Tom Joyner, again, he speaks to millions of people in different continents daily. He has affiliates overseas, speaking to millions of people every day, and he has no power. Again, makes no sense at all that anyone could make that power argument, given the fact that he has more power. I would say maybe more power than the majority of people in the world, given the fact that his show is international. So yes, Tom Joyner has power, and if the definition of racism is power and privilege to be able to affect somebody's life, he can most certainly affect people's life. Now, I would love to hear Tom Joyner speak on this and explain to us, everybody, exactly how he can make such a racist statement while at the same time always crying about racism. And if anyone could get word of him, I would love to get that word to him, and so he can come out and talk to us and explain to us exactly how he do that. Just something to think about. And as always, y'all, until next time.